Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm Viviana and I have been sharing with you all about my prep, and it's been a little bit since I've updated here on YouTube. So I'm gonna try to let you know what's going on, if I'm continuing my prep, and what has been happening so far.
All right, so we're back under 119, which is a really nice sign. You got the 4-week training program. Um, so answer me this. Did you have a good response to this training program? Do you feel pretty positive about it, or are you ready for some new challenges? And if you are, let me know some movements that you would like to include. Otherwise, I'm fine with you using it one more time. I'm not someone that thinks you need to constantly be changing your training, especially if it's still effective. But if you feel like you want something challenging, or there's something that's catching your eye, let me know. Okay, so I guess the question is, how do we proceed? We still want to do Pittsburgh, correct? Is that our goal? I guess that's my question because, over the last 4 or 5 weeks, we've made zero progress in regards to getting leaner, and we're now at the 12-week out mark. And so it's time to decide how we're going to progress. Um, yeah, that's my thoughts. Yeah. In my opinion, I'd like to take a recovery week where we bring food up and cardio down and then decide. So I'm going to give you the numbers below for 1 week to follow, and then we need to decide if we're going to focus on Pittsburgh, because obviously with your cycle happening over and over, there's something going on. We have to decide if that's the right decision for us. So I'd like your opinion. Thanks, Viviana.
All right, Miss Viv. Okay, so you got your cycle again this past week and then it stopped. Something is certainly happening. You had your recovery week this week, added the carbs and fats, and you're feeling good. And it shows. I mean, your body composition actually stayed stable. Work stress is down this week. So I'm going to give you the plan for 5 low days, 2 high days, and I'm going to kind of push hard. Let's see if we can't get this going. Yeah, you don't know. Let's give this week a shot and see. We have to make a decision in the next couple of weeks because obviously we have to have time to get you conditioned. This is going to be the week where we decide. So I want to see how you respond to kind of pushing a little bit harder. So here is the plan for this week, Viviana. And if something comes up and you feel a certain way, please let me know. But here we go.
Okay, everybody. So after so many videos and check-ins and updates and not sure about continuing my prep or not, I think finally we came to a decision. So it has been pretty crazy. I think I've mentioned previously, or the last time that I did a check-in on YouTube, updates of my prep, I've been having just back-to-back different situations. They started back in December with, a incident, or I was in a restaurant and I fainted. And then kind of like a syncope episode out of nowhere, and then ended up in the ER. And a week after, 2 weeks after, I was getting ready for family vacation and Christmas to go to Disney World, and we had a car accident and our vehicle was total loss. And then with that being said, came injuries and came, doctor's appointments, therapy, x-rays. So we have been going through a lot. And then in addition to trying to figure out if I should be doing my prep, I had been, besides that, I have been having irregular menstrual cycles. And not that that's abnormal for me, but it was just very different. So I've mentioned that I used an IUD, and I'm premenopause. So that also has to play a big part on my, irregular cycle. But this has been very different from previous. And so that's why we were kind of questioning and if it was a good thing to continue prep. There was too much going on. And then, of course, life continues and I work. I'm a wife, a mom, a grandma, and there's all these responsibilities in addition to what's going on in my life. And of course, training, nutrition, meal prep, check-ins, and all of that fun stuff. So I also ended up having my mom in the hospital. She doesn't live here in the city. She actually lives in Virginia. They were thinking of her that she probably had another stroke. And then at the same time, my daughter was sick. And it was just one of those times where we're having a lot of things happening back to back or in some at once. And at the same time of work, I'm a nurse, but I'm a director of my department. So I was also having a clinical visit, which, they come and they check that we are currently doing everything within our company policy and the state regulations. And then they also contacted me from the company's clinical vice president to present one of the programs that I had added to our clinical fall prevention. So there is all this happening at the same time, and I am trying to figure out, is this a good time to prep or not? So we went into, okay, let's try this out. This is not working out. To we're not doing any better, but we're not getting worse. So what are we gonna do? So at the end of the day, what we want to do is what's best, in general, everything, not just, health has to come first and then our prep, and that I'm okay physically, mentally prepare for this show. And so that's why I have been all over the place as far as deciding if I should be able to continue the prep. It being so close now and continuing with different things happening, I think that it's probably going to be best for me to hold off. And so I checked in with my coach, and I'm going to be sharing with you the different check-ins, but I'm going to decide what I'm going to do and whatever my coach's recommendations are, and kind of trying to figure out what's best overall for me, and if it is to continue or not for my prep. So the good thing is there's always, looking at the bright side, or the good thing is my mom is out of the hospital. She actually came to visit me. And when she was here, I actually presented my clinical presentation with our clinical vice president, and she got to, hear the good news. And then I was also nominated for an excellence award from the company, and I actually got the award for the district. And so they also announced that they're going to be doing adding the program that I created to the not only to our district but the company. So that's very exciting. And then of course my daughter is doing well, my kids are okay, and now it's just a matter of me to take care of what's going on with my health before thinking of moving on or continuing with prep. And so that is all of the things that have been happening. I am so grateful that I'm doing okay, that my mom is doing okay, and so grateful to have the opportunity to do the things that I do, like at work. I am so grateful that I get to do what I do, and it is a very stressful work. It is, emotional roller coaster every day when it comes to my work, but I always say there's good days and then there's better days. But I always try to stay positive through everything. So I'm going to be sharing with you my check-in, my decision, and then what we're going to do next.
Hey, Viviana. Well, first of all, sorry to hear about your mom, but obviously, I'm very happy that she's out and feeling better, and now your daughter is sick. My concern is that you were 100% compliant, and yet here we are, technically up in weight. So it starts to concern me. We're having these repeated menstrual symptoms. I really think we need to kind of pull back the idea of prepping and instead focus on getting you healthy. I don't know how you feel about that, but for the better part of the last month, we've been the same weight, despite making attempts to get leaner. So what I'd like to do this week is I'm going to bring your calories and cardio into line with your maintenance. Calories up, cardio down. I want to give us a week of maintenance because the last time we did that, it didn't really change anything for the worse. Whereas what we're doing now, I feel like is making things worse. We need to work out what's going on with your symptoms. That is something that is kind of outside my scope of practice. But I know if I'm pushing your body and you're not responding, there's something going on here that needs to be addressed. So we got to work on the symptoms. So we're going to take a week of recovery before we get back into maintenance mode or before we get back into prep mode. So this is the plan for the week ahead. Let me know if you see anything interesting, drops or changes. Thank you, Viviana.
La vida está llena de sorpresa, sorpresa que te hieren el corazón, sorpresa que te entristecen, pero a la vez te enseñan y te hacen más fuertes. Yo con cada...
Viviana, well, listen, I certainly agree with understanding what's going on right now, because the one thing I don't want to do is put added stress on your physique. And I actually want to ensure that we're bringing your calories up properly. So this week, I want to bring your fats up to 50 grams. So we're going to add 5 grams of fat. We're going to keep everything else the same. And, this is going to set us up for success. I'd also like to consider pulling back your training to 4 days a week. So we're getting a little bit more recovery. Our nutrition is a little bit better. So we're not adding stress to this phase of what's going on with your hormones until we get that stuff sorted. And I'd be fine with starting prep, but we got to get this sorted out. Obviously 9 weeks in a row of being on and off a menstrual cycle is not ideal, but you know that. This week, add 5 grams of fat. Okay. Happy Monday.
Okay, everybody. So as you probably heard already, we are not continuing our prep. We have decided to start prepping for the show. And that is because of the health issues that I've had. And so we want to make sure that we take care of all of that before we move on to prepping for a show. And again, like I said, it's just been not only my cycle, but there's other things happening that we want to make sure that we address that first and take care of that before we continue prepping for a show. I've said it before, there are many shows. There's, all these other that I can choose from later, but we have to take care of the health issues first. So with that being said, what is next? At the moment, I am very focused at work. There is a lot of challenges happening, but there's a lot of great things happening that I'm super excited about. There is a conference coming up that I am excited to attend. And then I have my 29th, or my husband and I have our 29th anniversary coming up. And we've decided to go to Peru this year as our anniversary gift. And we try to do this, once a year for our anniversary. That's what we gift each other. And we're getting ready for that hike in Machu Picchu and the Rainbow Mountain. If you heard of it, it's a challenge. And then we have, things going on with our personal life. I have my twins that their birthday is coming up. I'm excited about that too. And then, of course, we will take care of what's happening with me and maybe decide what the next show is. So at the moment, we are going to stay in maintenance. We are going to start increasing the calories and decreasing the cardio so that we go back to our maintenance and then see where we're at that time. And then we will decide when our next prep will start. But again, outside of bodybuilding, it's important that we also have other things. Yes, I am very focused. I'm always making sure my macros are good, my meal prep, my everything. But in addition to that, I also have a life outside bodybuilding, and I'm excited about that as well. So we are going to stop prepping, and we're going to go back to maintenance, and we're going to take care of all these health things that are happening, and we are looking forward to all the other things that are happening. So that is where we're at now. Again, thank you all so much for following. I will let you know when there is an update. I'll be checking it every week. That doesn't stop. And I will continue to do what I have to do to be the best athlete that I can be, but also continue to be the best mom, wife, and grandma that I can be and live my best life. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you next time.